All right. There's a version of me that had to die. He wasn't evil. He wasn't bad. But he was soft. He was addicted to comfort. He was scared of being seen, scared of failing. And most of all, he was scared of changing. He always talked about becoming someone great. But when the time came to act, he always gave up. He always froze. He always looked for an excuse. So I had to kill that person, that version of me. And that's when everything changed. I used to live with one foot on the gas, one on the brake. I wanted success badly, but I also wanted to stay safe. So I did what most people do. I distracted myself, scrolling for hours, playing games, making to-do lists I never finished. I did get bursts of motivations here and there, go on maybe for a day, a week, a month. Then I crash. I kept telling myself, I'm tired, I'm too busy. But deep down, I knew the truth. I didn't have discipline. I didn't believe in myself. And the life that I wanted was slowly drifting away. And maybe that's you right now. Um, I remember one day waking up, looking at myself in the mirror, being over 40 pounds overweight, realizing that I was nowhere near my goals. I was exactly the same as 5 years ago. And it sucked. I wasn't happy with myself. I felt depressed, unmotivated. Um, but that day, I decided I couldn't keep going like this. Something had to change. So that day, I got this notebook. It looks really old right now, but it was new back in the day. And I started journaling the life that I wanted. On December 28th, 3 years ago, I wrote, I am grateful of my discipline. I can accomplish anything I put my mind to. I do this by daily goals that are aligned to my future life. As I work hard and stay away from negativity, I am able to accomplish the goal of financial freedom. And I wrote a couple more things after that. But those few lines changed my life because that was my map. That was my roadmap to my future life. Just like I stated, I do this by doing daily goals that are aligned to my future life. That became my roadmap, doing goals that were going to give me the results that I was searching for. I started writing with detail exactly how that future me was going to act. I started describing exactly the life that I wanted. I was very specific of the person I needed to become to get those things. And I started doing those daily goals every single day without missing them until I became that person. And that's when everything changed. Because if I didn't rewrite my story, I was going to die with a lot of regret. And I didn't want that. Something needed to change. The thing is, change, it wasn't instant. But since I started following what I wrote down, I stopped negotiating with weakness, with doubt, with fear. I just showed up. I did those daily goals every single day, regardless of how I felt. And everything started with one tiny habit. At first, I didn't know exactly how to become that person, but I knew I had to start trusting myself. So I started doing one goal, one tiny habit. I kept doing it days after days. Eventually, I gained trust in myself. So I added a second goal, a second habit, and I kept going, adding more and more habits that was going to lead me to my future life. One habit at a time. Eventually, I felt like I could do anything. I trusted myself. I added a lot of goals. I was improving. I was seeing results. People were noticing. I was losing weight. I was feeling more confident. I was achieving my dreams, becoming a better musician, becoming less timid, becoming more confident. I started taking action, not dwelling in fear all the time. And slowly my thoughts started changing. My confidence grew. And I realized something. The only reason I kept stuck was because I was always dragging my old self. The thing is, you don't need more motivation. You don't need another book, another YouTube video. You just need to decide who you're gonna be. Because once you shift your identity, actions follow. That's why discipline never stuck with me before. Because I was always identifying as someone that quit, as someone who starts and stops. Because that was my cycle all throughout my life. But once I wrote down exactly who I wanted to become, once I wrote down a description of the person that I wanted to be, and describe that person with as much detail as possible, and I started reviewing that every single day, now I knew who I had to be in order to get my dream life. It was a roadmap, and I started reading that, visualizing that every single day, until slowly I started becoming that person. I started taking actions that were in line with that person. So yeah, now I identify myself as someone that doesn't quit, someone that does hard things on a daily, someone that keeps his word, even when no one's watching. Most people, we try to change by adding our future life into our current self. But that's not how it works. We can't be the same person and expect different results. Something has to change. We have to let go of our old identity, the one that is always scared. You gotta stop associating yourself to that. You gotta stop seeing yourself as someone that always quits, someone that is not lucky, someone that has fear to talk to people, someone that has fear to start something new. Don't associate yourself to that anymore. Start writing down exactly the person that you want to become. Start imagining you already being that person, and start taking daily actions, little tiny habits that that person would do on a daily. So here's a trick. Forget about becoming better. That's not going to work. You have to become someone completely new. That's how you overcome. To summarize, if right now you're someone that feels stuck, that is struggling to accomplish your dreams, that is lacking motivation, or maybe you do have motivation, but you give up, then what you have to do, you have to stop seeing yourself as a person that always quits. You got to describe with detail the person that you want to become, the person that doesn't quit, the person that is determined, that is full of confidence. And you got to start describing exactly what that person does. Write it down with as much detail and start thinking of tiny habits that person does. Once you choose a couple of those habits, you're going to start doing them in your life every single day, no matter how you feel. Eventually, you're going to add a second habit, a third habit, and you're going to start stacking up the wins. Eventually, you become that person. You got to trust that you can change, and you will. Make sure you subscribe so we can improve together.